and their close kin and friends, to this child and all other children who have to grow up without their parents. As well, Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, you know, as we do, that we think of all police officers throughout France, law enforcement that has once again paid the highest price, giving up their lives, and we must give them our support, solidarity, and make every effort to ensure their safety. Our police officers defend order throughout the Republic and to protect us, and we owe them infinite gratitude. And I will no longer accept, and I am saying this very clearly and starkly here, the constant challenges to the honor of these men and women who risk their lives for our freedom. We must stand by their sides, particularly these days as they are so important, and express our respect and affection for them. 2 days ago in Orlando, after this absolutely terrible terrorist and homophobic attack, a different person in a different way implemented the same beliefs of hate, same convictions to kill, sow terror, challenge what we are, and keep us from living free. This is a global threat, because that's the starting point, Mr. Speaker, is what we face today. And that's why I talked about the end of innocence for our societies. This global threat requires that we be level-headed and that we be clear. We are facing a long-term fight, whether it's in Syria or Iraq, even though the Islamic State organization is falling back there, though it's still there, it's also present in our countries. This is a massive phenomenon. Several thousands of our citizens are involved in these Syrian and Iraqi fields. 180 died there. If we only count French citizens, 9,500 individuals were signaled to the national platform. So our entire society must come together in action, and that is why we came up with the action plan that we presented with the Interior Minister. Our first weapon is criminal law. It is the right of a legitimate government to fight against anyone who would want to be involved in this kind of process. And it is also to avoid extrajudicial experiments that we have seen since the year 2000 roughly around the world, and that often lead to dead ends. We must, however, focus on repression and fight radicalization everywhere, including in prisons, to involve families, social services, and society as a whole, as I have said. And this is so important today because there are 295 judicial cases regarding 1,216 individuals are being examined within the security services. Over just the last 2 weeks, as the Interior Minister will be able to remind us, 16 people suspected of terrorist activities were arrested and brought before anti-terrorism judges. We have done much learning from the terrorist attacks of the last 3 years, both in terms of anti-terrorism legislation, intelligence, and also through the state of emergency. We must use all of our resources, and we must, of course, look at every possible hint minutely. And of course, we have heard from the prosecutor recently. The investigations are underway. This is a long-term fight for our entire generation, and as you know, there is no such thing as no risk. Terrorism wants to instill fear, and our answer is to resist, to fight terrorism, and resist against fear and against violence, all types of violence that strike our society, with our military, with our law enforcement, with our laws and our democracy, because it is through this that, without weakening, we are going to win this fight.
La parole est au président Bruno Leroux. Monsieur